Also, some quick news about The Witcher.
Yeah.
So so in series 2, apparently they're not. It's all going to be in linear order
Okay. Well, I mean,
because apparently they,
season
the
1 was too confusing, or
yeah, not that it was too confusing, but they got a lot of flack for not putting it in a linear order.
I mean,
But I feel like it could have just been saved with, just putting a fucking date on screen, or 10 years earlier, or 5 years later, or something like that. Just so we get an idea of the timelines,
yeah.
more so than just plonking random scenes, here and there. And then the other problem is, scenes could take place 10, 20 years apart, but because none of the characters fucking age, because they're all immortal elf wizards, they all look the same, so it's impossible to tell when they are.
It took me reading like a Reddit thread until episode 4 before I finally worked out what was supposed to be going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like it has the sort of it's not as bad as Primer, but like it has the same kind of idea of almost being sort of thinking it's too good for its audience, being like, we're so complex. We're going to make it really difficult for you to understand because that's how complex we are. But the fans, they'll get it because they've read the books hundreds of times. They know what we're up to. Yes, but you're making this for new people to get involved. We don't want them and their smelly shoes. No, we want the good old fans who are loyal and know us.
I don't know if it is like that.
I mean, maybe not. That's just me. But like, I felt like it felt like it was hostile towards, like it's been deliberately complicated so that new people wouldn't be into it in a weird way. I don't know. Because it's right, like so basically me and my dad were watching it as like our to watch together at lunch kind of thing, like which is what we're doing with Altered Carbon now. But if we weren't doing it as part of that, I would not have watched past the first episode because I had no idea what was going on. I didn't care. I would have stopped if we weren't watching it, as together. So I don't know. Yeah. It felt quite. It felt like it was somehow hostile in terms of it towards a new audience.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of understand that, but I think it is trying to be more open to new people. I never got a sense of, they're too stuck up for their own good or whatever. And I mean, I haven't read the books, but as far as I'm aware, that flip-flopping doesn't happen in the books either. But again, I could be wrong. Because I think the first book is actually a bunch of short stories set in the universe.
Right.
So they are set in different places and times. But apparently for the second series, they were like, we're just going to do it all in a linear order because that's the biggest amount of backlash they got. Which, to be fair, of all things you can have backlash about, that's quite a good... that's also, not the worst thing to have backlash about.
Also, by the end of season 1, it had more or less converged anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to keep it in out of order anyway. But yeah.
Did you? So you enjoyed the series?
To be honest, not a massive amount.
No?
I mean, I enjoyed fleeting bits of it. I remember, I think it was episode 6, the one where they go to find the dragon was like the one episode I really liked. And it was partially because it was like, it was like the first, I think it was the first time, was it the first time? It was one of the first times we see like the groups properly come together. So we have the Witcher. And we have Scary Witch Lady come together.
Yeah.
As like, and also idiot character who's a bard.
Dandelion. Yeah.
Is that his name? Dandelion?
In the book, so Jaskier is Polish for dandelion, I think.
Okay, whatever he was called. But like with that, I think that was one of the first stories where we saw like all three of them together properly.
Yeah.
And it was clearly the same time period. And I like that. It was a self-contained, like unlike other episodes where they've got like fragments of the three plot lines all going together, and none of them are really complete ideas. Well, this one was like one complete story.
See, that's interesting because that was my least favourite episode.
Okay.
Because that felt like they'd picked up a plot from fucking BBC's Merlin's cutting room floor and stuck Henry Cavill in it. But it kept the 2006 CGI. I
mean, CGI the dragons did look terrible. But I guess my point is, like, because it's like a self-contained story. I mean, the story's not even necessarily the problem. I feel like because it had... I mean, so we've got The Witcher and Scary Lady. And obviously their chemistry is a big thing.
The Witcher and Scary Lady.
I don't know their names, for God's sake. and like... Yeah. So obviously there's a bit of chemistry between them in the series. But I remember just like the one episode where we saw like a lot... Like for the whole duration we saw the two of them together. and like
I
just
think
playing off each other.
They
And
could have done more to show more chemistry between them, because there is the chemistry there, and the actors have the chemistry. But the first time they meet each other, they start fucking, and it's like,
is that
sorry,
in
what?
is that in the episode before?
The one with the genie.
The orgy. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Is that
orgy,
is that episode 5?
I think so, possibly.
Okay, but then does that take place after episode 6?
Yennefer is her name.
Oh, okay, Yennefer. Because it's all
No,
Oh.
well, because I think that's supposed to be the first time they
Yeah.
meet, because
Okay, it must be then,
he
yeah.
uses his genie wish to make sure she stays in his life or something, and that's why they keep running into each other.
Gay. But yeah, like, so I mean, that's a valid point though. The first time they meet and they just instantly start fucking, and it's like no. So instead, this episode is like, okay, well, let's have them just talk to each other and like bounce off each other. And I like that. Also, there was something about I don't know what to call this archetype. But the sort of the types of stories where you have like a band of like, I was saying this to you about Mandalorian as well. About, I think it was episode 6 as well, where you have like the main character, and you have like a band of other sort of individually characterized bounty hunters or misfits, and they all go in this group together to do a quest, but none of them trust each other, and there's a series of betrayals, and it all sort of whittle down.
Yeah,
And I really like that as a plot thing, and I liked, so The Witcher did that in that episode, and I liked that. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
That just stuck out to me as the. Other than that, I just wasn't that into it really.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like, some of the fight scenes were amazing, I thought.
I think so. Well, the thing is as well, because I know you specifically really like medieval fantasy, don't you?
Yeah.
But like I don't.
Fucking nerd.
But like, so Game of Thrones, I remember I didn't think I'd like Game of Thrones, and then it happened to just really like pull me in because it's so well made and so engrossing, so much good characters and stuff.
Yeah. And then they fucking held you prisoner because you cared what happened to the character.
And like, I like Lord of the Rings as well because it's sort of so good that it's almost impossible not to.
Yeah.
But I've never been passionate about Lord of the Rings, and other than Game of Thrones, there's no medieval fantasy I've gone really into. So maybe maybe it's just not like literally not my thing. Well, it might be more your thing, The Witcher. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I did really enjoy The Witcher. I remember being like, yeah, this is cool, because, but I think with something that has such a huge fan base already, because whereas with Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, they'd only ever been books, and obviously there was the Lord of the Rings cartoon, but
oh, the Ralph Bakshi, how do you say his surname?
There's the animation, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Oh
genuinely.
wait. So that's the one that's called The Lord of the Rings, right? And then have you
Yeah.
seen there's another one called Return of the King?
I have not.
I don't know if it's by the same, but look it up. I think it's from 1985, I want to say.
Okay.
You're going to love that.
Okay. But yeah,
Oh my
but
God.
whereas The Witcher had the video games, so they've got the fans of the books, but they also have millions upon millions of fans already of the video games. So I feel like they had a lot of pressure to get it right,
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure it was like pitched in some way as being Netflix's Game of Thrones. So to then also follow in that shadow as well,
Yeah.
it is a lot of pressure. Well, to be fair, because how Game of Thrones ended, you could probably throw any shit on the screen and be like, good. Something else.